Hello everyone, welcome to our TJ Comments and Answers channel. I hope you're all doing well. In this video, we will analyze and answer the questions from this week's Watchtower study. This study corresponds to the week of April 28th to May 4th, and it is titled Jehovah's Forgiveness, How to Imitate It. Without further ado, let's begin. Let's look at questions 1 and 2, Part A. When is it possible for us to struggle with forgiveness? We struggle with forgiveness when the harm we have suffered is deep, whether emotional or physical, and especially when the person who hurt us shows no remorse or has no intention of correcting their mistake. Additional comments. It is understandable that forgiveness is hard when the pain is intense, as in the case of Denise. She did not deny her suffering, but chose not to let resentment control her. This teaches us that forgiving does not mean ignoring the pain, but rather not allowing hate or anger to control us, which is a liberating process for both the one who forgives and the one who is forgiven. Let's move on to questions 1 and 2, Part B. How did Denise show that she had forgiven? Denise showed that she had forgiven by asking the judge to show mercy to the driver, despite all the pain and tragedy he had caused in her life. She chose not to seek revenge, but to act with compassion. Additional comments. Denise's act of asking for mercy for the driver reflects an attitude that goes beyond human justice and moves toward mercy, a principle that deeply impacted the judge. This behavior shows that forgiveness not only has a personal healing power but also a transformative effect on those who receive it, inspiring compassion in others. Let's look at question 3. What helped Denise forgive? What helped Denise forgive was meditating on the forgiveness Jehovah offers. By recognizing and appreciating divine forgiveness, she felt the desire to forgive others, even the one who caused her so much pain. Additional comments. Denise found the strength to forgive by reflecting on the forgiveness Jehovah offers to everyone. This highlights how divine forgiveness can be a model for us, helping us release our hearts from resentment by remembering the love and mercy we have received. Understanding this forgiveness can motivate us to imitate that attitude toward others. Meditating on Jehovah's forgiveness not only allowed Denise to forgive the driver, but it was also a form of emotional healing. Appreciating how Jehovah forgives unconditionally can help us release pain and heal our own wounds, turning suffering into an opportunity to practice compassion. Let's move on to question 4. What does Jehovah want us to do? Ephesians 4:32. Jehovah wants us to forgive generously, just as he does with us. He expects us to be willing to forgive those who hurt us, without reservations or conditions. Additional comments. Jehovah forgives us generously and expects us to respond in the same way. This means that forgiveness should not be limited or conditioned on what the other person does but should reflect God's abundant mercy. By imitating this generous forgiveness, we create an atmosphere of peace and reconciliation. The forgiveness Jehovah offers does not depend on our perfection, but on his love. Similarly, Jehovah wants us to be willing to forgive those who hurt us, even if the other person shows no remorse. This underscores the importance of our attitude and willingness to forgive, rather than the behavior of those who offend us. Let's move on to the first subtitle, Do Not Ignore Your Feelings. Let's look at question 5. How is it possible for us to feel when someone offends us? Proverbs 12:18. When someone offends us, we can feel deep emotional pain, especially if it is someone close to us, such as a good friend or a family member. The pain can be as intense as the blow of a sword, as mentioned in Proverbs 12:18. If we try to suppress these feelings, it's like leaving a wound untreated, which will not allow us to heal properly. Additional comments. The emotional pain caused by offenses can be as strong as a physical wound, and this is something many people can experience, especially when the harm comes from someone we trust. Recognizing that our emotions are valid is the first step to healing, because ignoring them only worsens the situation. The advice from Proverbs 12:18 reflects how emotional pain should be treated with the same seriousness as a physical wound. If we don't confront our emotions and leave them unresolved, we remain trapped in suffering. Only by acknowledging what we feel can we begin the process of healing and forgiveness. Let's move on to question 6. What can be the first reaction when someone offends us? The first reaction when we are offended can be anger. The Bible recognizes that this is a natural response, but advises us not to let that negative emotion control us. Although feeling anger may be an initial reaction, it is important not to let it turn into actions that harm us, as anger does not lead us down a good path. Additional comments. Anger is a common emotional response to an offense, and the Bible does not condemn it as something inherently bad. However, it teaches us not to allow anger to become a prolonged attitude that controls our actions, as this can lead us to make impulsive and harmful decisions. Although anger may be an instant reaction, the Bible emphasizes that deciding to maintain that anger is a personal choice. This principle encourages us to be aware of our emotions and take responsibility for them, choosing to respond in a controlled manner and avoiding letting our emotions take us down a destructive path. Let's look at question 7. What other emotions might we feel when someone harms us? When someone harms us, we may feel a variety of painful emotions, such as abandonment, replacement, betrayal, deceit, or deep sadness. These emotions arise when we experience a sense of loss or when our trust is broken by someone close to us, as seen in the cases of Anne, Georgette, and Naomi, who experienced different forms of emotional pain. Additional comments. Feelings of abandonment and betrayal are common when someone close hurts us. As in Anne's case, feeling replaced by a loved one can create a deep sense of not being valued, which can affect our self-esteem and ability to trust others. This kind of emotional pain needs to be recognized and addressed in order to heal properly. Georgette and Naomi's experiences show how emotional harm, such as infidelity or betrayal, can cause deep suffering, especially when there is a strong emotional connection with the person who harms us. The pain from this broken trust can be so intense that it affects emotional security, requiring time and effort to heal. Let's look at question 8, Part A. What are some of the reasons why we should forgive? We should forgive because we love Jehovah, and He wants us to do so. In addition, forgiving allows us to maintain control over our emotions and prevents anger from leading us to make impulsive decisions that could harm our health or relationships. Additional comments. When we forgive, especially if we have suffered trauma, we are not minimizing the harm done or allowing the person to keep hurting us. Forgiveness is an act of personal liberation, letting go of resentment and pain, which allows us to heal and regain control of our lives. This process is not only a way to heal emotionally but also to protect our mental peace and well-being. Let's look at question 8, Part B. What benefits do we gain from forgiving? See the box, what if someone's actions caused me trauma? By forgiving, we free ourselves from resentment and negative emotions, allowing us to heal and move forward. Forgiveness also improves our emotional and physical health by reducing stress and tension that arise from holding on to resentment. Additionally, by forgiving, we leave judgment to Jehovah, who is a much fairer judge than we are. Additional comments. Forgiveness doesn't mean the offender escapes the consequences of their actions. By forgiving, we let Jehovah handle the judgment, trusting that He has a broader and fairer view of the situation. This principle brings us peace, as we know Jehovah's justice is perfect, and He will make the right decisions at the proper time, which is a great source of comfort for those of us who have been hurt. Let's look at question 9. Why should we get rid of resentment? We should get rid of resentment because by holding on to it, we allow the harm to continue affecting us, even if the person who hurt us never apologizes. By freeing ourselves from resentment, we prevent our hearts from filling with bitterness and give ourselves the opportunity to heal and move forward, which allows us to enjoy life again. Additional comments. Resentment not only perpetuates the harm we have suffered, but it also prevents us from experiencing peace and happiness. Georgette illustrates how by letting go of resentment, one can experience a deep sense of peace. This shows that forgiveness and releasing resentment are essential for restoring our emotional calm and regaining control of our lives. Getting rid of resentment benefits not only the offender but also us. By letting go of bitterness, we give ourselves permission to move forward and enjoy life again. Forgiveness, in this sense, is a liberation that allows us to grow emotionally and find well-being, regardless of what the other person has done. Let's move on to the second subtitle, Try to turn the page. Let's look at question number 10. Why do we need time to heal emotional wounds? See also the images. Just as a person who suffers a serious accident needs time to heal physically, we also need time to heal emotionally after being hurt. This time allows us to process our emotions and be ready to forgive from the heart. Additional comments. Time is essential for healing emotional wounds, as it's not something that resolves immediately. Just as the body needs time to recover from a physical wound, our emotions also require time to heal, allowing us to overcome the pain and move forward with more strength. Time also helps us to be truly ready to forgive. Emotional healing allows our emotions to calm down and gives us the clarity we need to forgive genuinely. This process reflects the wisdom of Ecclesiastes 3:3, which reminds us that everything has its time, even the healing of emotional wounds. Let's move on to question number 11. How can prayer help us forgive? Prayer can help us forgive by asking Jehovah to give us the strength and understanding necessary to forgive. In prayer, we can ask Him to guide us and help us imitate His forgiveness, which enables us to overcome pain and move toward reconciliation. Additional comments. And shows how prayer allowed her to find the strength to forgive her father and wife, despite the pain she had experienced. Prayer is not just a request for help, but also an act of trust that Jehovah will give us the power to forgive, helping us to free ourselves from bitterness and find peace. By asking Jehovah to help us forgive, we are striving to imitate His forgiveness, which is unlimited and generous. This act of prayer can be transformative, as it guides us to see the situation from a perspective of compassion and mercy, which not only benefits our healing but also may inspire others to draw closer to Jehovah. Let's move on to question number 12. Why should we trust in Jehovah and not in our feelings? Proverbs 3:5-6. We should trust in Jehovah because He always knows what is best for us. Although our feelings may lead us to make impulsive decisions, Jehovah guides us along the path that benefits us, as shown by His wisdom in encouraging us to forgive. Trusting our feelings may cause us to never forgive, whereas following Jehovah's guidance leads us to healing. Additional comments. Jehovah has a broader and perfect perspective on what truly benefits us, while our feelings can be confusing or even deceptive. As in Naomi's case, trusting in Jehovah helps us make decisions that heal us, even if our emotions initially tell us otherwise. This emphasizes the importance of not basing our actions on the heat of the moment but on divine wisdom. Naomi's case also shows how, despite feelings of hurt and fear, forgiveness is something Jehovah asks us to do because it is best for our healing. By trusting Jehovah, we are choosing to follow a path that not only brings peace and healing to our lives but also strengthens our relationship with Him. Let's move on to the third subtitle, Cultivate Positive Emotions. Let's look at question number 13. According to Romans 12:18-21, what do we have to do? According to Romans 12:18-21, we must do everything possible to live in peace with others, replacing anger with mercy and resentment with forgiveness. If it is a brother, we must seek peace with him, avoiding revenge and acting with kindness. This means not only leaving behind what happened but also taking active steps to restore the relationship. Additional comments. Romans 12:18-21 teaches us that forgiveness is not limited to passivity, like simply not talking about the matter anymore, but it is a conscious effort to replace negative feelings with attitudes of peace and mercy. This requires deliberate action on our part, seeking to heal and restore the relationship with the other person, even if the harm was deep. The ultimate goal of forgiveness, according to Romans 12:18-21, is peace. This peace is not just the absence of conflict, but an active restoration of the relationship. Forgiveness allows us not only to heal our own wounds but also to contribute to reconciliation and harmony within our community, as the verse emphasizes the importance of living in peace with all, as much as possible. Let's look at question number 14. What should we strive to do, and why? We should strive to see the person who offended us as Jehovah sees them, focusing on their good qualities. This is important because, by seeking the positive in others, it becomes easier to forgive them. Just as Jehovah chooses to focus on virtues and not just on flaws, we can learn to do the same, making reconciliation easier. Additional comments. The way we choose to see others influences our ability to forgive. If we focus on the positive qualities of the person, we can overcome resentment and begin to heal. This approach is key to letting go of negative feelings and moving toward a genuine attitude of compassion and forgiveness. Jehovah focuses on people's good qualities, demonstrating his love and patience. By striving to do the same, we are imitating his example of forgiveness and compassion. This not only improves our relationships with others but also reflects Jehovah's character in our lives, drawing us closer to him. Let's move on to question number 15. Why is it good to tell the person that you have forgiven them? It is important to tell the person that we have forgiven them because this act not only benefits the one who receives forgiveness but also us. By expressing the words, "I forgive you," as Naomi did, we can experience emotional release and restore the relationship, which gives us peace and allows trust to be rebuilt. Additional comments. Saying, "I forgive you," not only impacts the person being forgiven, but also the one who forgives. As Naomi experienced, by verbalizing forgiveness, emotional release takes place, facilitating healing both internally and in the relationship. Words have a transformative power that makes forgiveness real and effective. Forgiveness expressed verbally, as Naomi did, has the power to restore relationships. By telling the other person that we have forgiven them, we are showing that we have let go of the pain and are willing to rebuild trust. This facilitates the reconciliation process, allowing both people to heal and reconnect emotionally. Let's move on to question number 16. What have you learned about forgiveness? I have learned that Jehovah wants us to show forgiveness, as mentioned in Colossians 3:13. Although sometimes it is difficult for us to forgive, we can achieve it if we follow the proper steps, recognize and not ignore our feelings, strive to overcome the pain, and cultivate positive emotions that help us forgive from the heart. Additional comments. Forgiveness is not just an instant decision, but a process that involves recognizing our emotions, working through them, and ultimately freeing ourselves from resentment. This process requires patience and effort, but by following these steps, we can forgive genuinely and heal from emotional wounds. By forgiving, we are following Jehovah's command, who desires us to imitate his forgiveness. Cultivating positive emotions and making the decision to forgive is not only beneficial for us but also brings us closer to Jehovah, strengthening our relationship with him and reflecting his love in our lives. Let's move on to the fourth subtitle, Think about the benefits of forgiveness. Let's look at question number 17. How does forgiving benefit us? Forgiving benefits us in several ways. We imitate and please our Father, Jehovah, who is full of mercy. We demonstrate our gratitude for the generous forgiveness Jehovah gives us. We improve our emotional and physical health, and strengthen our relationships, as forgiveness contributes to harmony and peace in our friendships. Additional comments. By forgiving, we not only follow Jehovah's example but also please Him. Just as He shows us mercy, we can extend that mercy to others, reflecting His love and compassion in our everyday life. Forgiveness is not only an act of obedience but also has a positive impact on our emotional health and relationships. By releasing resentment, we reduce stress and improve our interpersonal connections, leading to a more balanced and satisfying life. Let's look at questions 18 and 19. What can happen if we forgive? When we forgive, we can reap unexpected benefits. One example of this is Denise, who, by forgiving the man who caused the accident, never imagined that he, impacted by her forgiveness, would begin studying the Bible with Jehovah's Witnesses, giving him a new opportunity for life. Although forgiving may be one of the hardest things we face, it can also be one of the most valuable. By striving to forgive from the heart, following Jehovah's example, we experience deep satisfaction and peace, as Matthew 5:7 teaches us. Additional comments. Denise's forgiveness not only brought emotional healing to her life but also had a significant impact on the life of the offender, who decided to change his course upon seeing the power of forgiveness. This demonstrates how forgiveness can transform lives in unexpected ways, opening doors for reflection and change. Forgiving can be a challenge, but as Denise's example shows, the effort to forgive brings rewards beyond what we may initially imagine. By forgiving, we not only free the other person, but we also free ourselves from the emotional burden of resentment, allowing us to move forward with peace and a sense of purpose. Now we will answer the review questions titled, "What would you say?" Question 1. Why should you not ignore your feelings? You should not ignore your feelings because, if we repress them, we do not truly heal. It is important to recognize what we feel because only by acknowledging our emotions can we begin the process of healing and forgiveness. Ignoring our feelings may make the wound last longer, while facing them allows us to free ourselves from resentment. Question 2. What will help you move on? What will help you move on is taking the necessary time to heal emotionally. Just like a physical wound, emotional wounds require time to heal. It is also important to make a conscious effort to let go of resentment and focus on the positive, which facilitates forgiveness and allows us to move forward with peace. Question 3. What can you do to cultivate positive emotions? To cultivate positive emotions, you can focus on the good qualities of others and what you truly value about them. By seeing people from a perspective of mercy and compassion, it becomes easier to replace resentment with forgiveness. You can also pray to Jehovah to help you have an attitude of forgiveness and gratitude, which fosters a heart filled with peace and healing. Well, these have been the answers from this week's Watchtower study. I hope they are very helpful, my dear brothers and sisters. We will see each other next week with a new video. I send you a big hug, and may Jehovah always bless and protect you.